You're here to speak to us about suicide awareness.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about what you've been involved in? I know that you were part of a protest that happened in Long Beach recently. Can you set us up and we'll show some of the clips?
Yeah, well, you know, tragically, 20 months ago, my son passed away from suicide. Thank you. We placed him in a facility in Long Beach, Compton, La Casa Mental Health, owned by Telecare Corporation. And what we found out was that this facility and many facilities that contract with the local Department of Mental Health, in this case it was LA County, that contracts with them, they have oversight by California Department of Healthcare. And this place has had numerous violations and previous deaths before my son. And what we're fighting for now, we have a court date, November 28th. Mark Garagos is our attorney. We have a court date against Telecare Corporation because we want these facilities to be held accountable for their actions. This facility neglected my child and then falsified the records.
Wow.
They left him in his room unattended for nearly an hour, over 45 minutes, but yet, and he was supposed to be on quarterly checks, so where they watch him, they make sure he's okay, but they left him in his room alone, yet they were still marking off that he was fine, even almost 4 hours after he had already been taken to the coroner. So they were falsifying the records.
Do you think it's a systematic problem? Like, is it a bigger deal in terms of not understanding how to deal with mental health, or do you think it's just pure neglect with this specific organization?
You know, if you are an employee and you know that you have to do mandatory checks on your patients, so you have to check on them every 15 minutes and sign off
for
with your
a reason,
initials.
exactly.
Right, and that's mandatory. It's not optional, it's mandatory. And yet you don't do it because I don't know what you're doing. You're sitting behind your desk, you're texting, you're watching. I mean, I don't know, I'm just guessing what they were doing. But yet you're still signing off. And we know this because we have surveillance.
Oh my gosh.
So then we find out that this has been happening many times. And so not just with my son and not just this hospital, but many places. And so we want, you know, we want these facilities to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. After so many violations, after so many deaths, you're shut down. Mm-hmm.
And don't these types of organizations or facilities receive government funding?
So that's the thing, is that they contract, this facility, Telecare Corporation, which is nationwide, they contract with, this particular one where my son died was La Casa in, like I said, Long Beach, Compton. They, LA County Department of Mental Health contracts with them. So they are in bed with the government. So even crazier that there's no oversight, or there is, but no one is saying anything. Mm-hmm. It's very hush hush. And we want to expose these places, to hold them accountable, because we don't want, my son wasn't the first to die there, but our goal is to make sure that he is the last. Mm. We also want, 2.5 weeks prior to my son completing suicide, he tried to take his life with a plastic bag. Mm. Why are plastic bags? Most hospitals don't even allow them, they're contraband. Mm. This facility had a plastic bag in his room, and even after the first suicide attempt, I demanded that all plastic bags be removed. Mm-hmm. And they said that they would, but they didn't, because he used a plastic bag 2.5 weeks later. Wow. When he completed suicide. You know, we started, my foundation is El Saber es Poder, knowledge is power. And that is, you know what, I started that back in 2000 because I realized, you know, I wanted to give back.
And so that his death makes sense in some sort of way to at least try to help people that are probably going through the same situation.
Right.
So that's admirable.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And listen, you know, I think you hit it on the head when you said, you know, that boxing is people think that boxing was your passion, but your son was your passion. A lot of people look at your boxing career and say, wow, she was really strong and brave to do that. But I think that your strength and your bravery is really showing through in the fight to bring all this awareness. And
the emotional fights are the hardest,
Right.
but then here you are fighting it, so we admire you for that.
Definitely admire you. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing
Thank
and for
you.
sharing your story.